Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, there is a saying that the bond between a father and his daughter is an everlasting one. That saying also goes on to explain that for every daughter, or maybe for most daughters, their father is their first boyfriend, and that even at maturity, you would find that these girls have grown into women who are trying to find resemblances of their fathers in the men that they settle down with. I don't know if this has been proven scientifically, but I think that these are all ways of showing the strong bond that exists between a father and his daughter, and I believe that is the case. But there are exceptions, and I think today's true crime story is a perfect example of one such exception. Now, this true crime story is coming from Africa again, and you wouldn't have seen this one coming. So there is this man, and he is a very powerful man in his country. He holds the position of the education circuit manager in his town called Limpopo, and his name is Dr. Malekutu Melapi. Now, Dr. Malekutu Melapi was in his 50s, but he was a widower. He had lost his wife in previous years, about 3 years ago, to an illness. But he still had his kids. He was staying with his kids and other members of his family, mostly nephews and nieces and other members of the family. Fast forward on the 28th of December, that is just 3 days after Christmas. Dr. Malekutu was at home when his daughter stepped out for a program. Now, his daughter's name is Mologadi Melapi. I know the names might not be what you are familiar with based on wherever you find yourself, but let's do well to just track. So the father's name is Dr. Malekutu, or let me just refer to him as the father, and the daughter's name is Mologadi, and maybe I'll just refer to her as the daughter, so it simplifies for you, right? Great. Let's continue. So this father was at home, and his daughter stepped out briefly. Now, when his daughter was returning in the evening, just as she was about to enter their home, she was accosted by some men who demanded for money and also engaged her to allow them to enter her home with them. So they sort of used her as an access to enter the home. So the people who were in the house had no option than to open, because they thought it was just the daughter returning from wherever she went to. But when they opened, that was when they realized that she was in the company of 2 other men who were meant to rob them. Now, these men are Lolofilo Mogolani and Chipo Ranoto. Let's just call them the 2 robbers. So these 2 robbers entered the house forcefully with this man's daughter. And when they entered, they met 2 other relatives in the house. So they accosted them too, and they robbed one of them of the valuables the person had. Then they marched them to the father's room. Upon getting to the father's room, they demanded that he should give them all the money that he has. And he obliged. He didn't try to fight them off or debate with them or argue with them or even frustrate their demands in any way. He complied. He gave them everything he had, and it's expected that that should have ended it. They should have left, because after all, they've gotten what they wanted. What else is left? Right? Well, no, because it turns out they still wanted one thing, and that was to take the life of this man. So even after he had complied and given them everything he had, unfortunately, they unalived him and they left. This was 3 days into the Christmas, so you can imagine how difficult it would be for the family to go through this. So investigation started. It seemed like the whole family was grieving. But little did they know that in as much as this was very bad and distasteful in itself, there was still another shock in the pipeline coming by virtue of the investigation that was ongoing. Fast forward, the police got a break. Now, what was this break? The break the police got was that it turns out that this man's daughter, Molugadi Melepe, who is just 28 years old, was an accomplice of these robbers. The police in their investigations are alleging that she conspired with these robbers to get into her home under the guise of they having accosted her and then get to her dad and rob him. So the whole ploy was to get to her dad and rob him of what he has. Now, I was like, hey, what is this? I've seen pictures of this father and his daughter. They seem really cozy. You could see they have a vibe. You could see this man has warmth towards his daughter. And from the picture, you see she also has some form of warmth towards him. But then, pictures can be deceiving, right? Yeah, because first of all, we don't even know when this particular picture was taken. Was it taken before whatever relationship they had went sour? Or was it taken within the time all this was just about to happen? Just that the daughter was pretending to be vibing with her dad. Because trust you me, some people have learned to pretend so well, it begins to look genuine, although it's still fake. But my heart sank when I got to learn from the research that it was his own daughter who orchestrated the entire thing with the other two accomplices just to get to take the money from her dad and also unalive him. I felt that, hey, this is just too much. It's bad enough you orchestrate with people to come and rob your dad, but it's an unthinkable thing that even after doing that, it escalates to the point where he's unalived. So I sought to find out why all that. What would motivate this girl? And believe you me, they were not living in poverty. These people were well-to-do. And the daughter is just 28 years old, but she's well-to-do. She's very well taken care of by her dad, who has more than enough to take care of her and even take care of other family members. That's how come they were even staying with him. So I did some digging. And this is what I found. Now, according to a family source who preferred to remain anonymous, what this family source is saying is that Molugadi, the daughter, had actually been complaining to her friends and some selected family members that her father was enjoying her deceased mother's money with other women. Interesting. Now you begin to see motive coming in. And it looks like the daughter didn't like that idea at all. According to her, her father was enjoying her deceased mother's money with other women. And that her mom had passed from some medical complications about 3 years ago. And since that time, this daughter, Molugadi, had been fighting her father. So, upon finding this, I began to appreciate how this could influence what has finally happened. Because it means that they haven't been on good terms for about 3 years now. There has been a very tenuous relationship between them. And the basis of it is that the daughter is claiming that her father is spending her deceased mother's money with other women. Now, you can begin to understand the sort of anger that will generate within a daughter in that situation. It goes further. Now, this daughter, allegedly, per this anonymous family source, wanted her father to give her money from her mother's pension and policies that he was, according to her, enjoying with other women. So it's like, okay, so my dad is enjoying my deceased mom's money with other women. I'm not happy. I don't like it. I'm fighting him. And I'm fighting him because I don't like it. But also, I'm fighting him because he should give me my share. That doesn't seem like an honorable fight. It looks like she also wants her cut. But then again, it could be an honorable thing if you look at it from the angle of maybe she is trying to claim that as her birthright because it's her mom's money. So she's trying to claim it as a sort of inheritance. But you are still staying with your dad and he's taking very good care of you. So maybe all that is adding up to that. And the dad in himself is also occupying a very enviable position in society. And as such, he's also very well paid. So money wasn't really a problem. It's not like this family was in poverty or needed for something that they were lacking. This was more looking like the daughter coming from an entitled position. And as I go on, you will begin to understand why. So she wanted the father to give her some of her mother's money. But then, this, according to this anonymous family member, she's also saying that they didn't exactly appreciate what she really wanted from her father for demanding for that money, because even at the young age of 28 years old, her father had made sure that she never lacked for anything, to the point that this daughter had everything a lot of women her age were actually working very hard to get, and even trying to cut corners with some immoral activities to get. Her father didn't allow her to go through that. He had given her a very soft life, to the point that she had her own car, and the father provided for everything that she wanted. But that it looked like the daughter felt entitled. And this family member also went on to talk about the fact that even when her dad was unalived on the 28th of December 2023, whilst other members of the family were crying and they were in sorrow, they were in pain, they were in tears, this daughter didn't even shed a single tear during her father's burial. She didn't care, and it was like the other family members were the ones who had lost a father. But then she was actually his daughter, and they were nieces and nephews. So then you begin to ask, where was this bond that is supposed to be existing and so strong between a father and his daughter? Is it that it was there before and this tension killed it? Or is it that some way, somehow, for this father and his daughter, they didn't have it? Or was it that the father genuinely has it for his daughter, but the daughter didn't have it back or didn't reciprocate it to her dad because she felt entitled and as such wasn't ready to bond with him naturally as a daughter to a father? Or is there something else I'm not mentioning? Of course, you can let me know in the comment section. Now, as it stands now, the daughter, as well as the other two suspects who have also been arrested along with the daughter, are facing charges of murder, robbery with aggravated circumstances, possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. So, this is where the case is. And it's very, very unfortunate, especially looking at the fact that a life has been lost, but more so looking at the fact that the genesis of the entire thing seems to have come from an insider, but not just any insider, but allegedly this victim's own daughter, one whom it seems he really loved and cherished. And I don't know, I think maybe the consolation is that this man didn't get to find out his daughter was behind this before he got unalived. I think it would have killed him before they even unalived him. And I feel that it's very unfortunate. This is a perfect example of how entitlement and money can destroy relationships that are supposed to be naturally strong and bonding between people. Please, no life is lesser in value than any amount of money. I tell you this. This lady, I don't know what her end game was. Even if she had gotten away with it, how much could you have gotten from this whole plan? And would it have been worth unaliving your dad? And what is to say, or who is to say, that even these two accomplices wouldn't have turned on you, knowing very well that you've been able to betray your own father for some few bundles of cash? I don't know. I don't know what informs this lady's conscience. I don't know what informs her principles. I don't know what informs her philosophy. But then again, all that I'm saying is based off of the reports of the investigation. That is not to say she is guilty. Because bear in mind, in the eyes of the law, she is innocent until proven guilty. So, if it turns out that by some weird circumstances or by something we are not yet privy to, she turns out being innocent, well, then it becomes another case of the state failing to prosecute a suspect. But as it stands now, per the reports and the investigation, it's looking like they have her as a key suspect, and these are the accusations and charges leveled against her. As usual, I'm following the case. As and when a final verdict is out or a key update is out, I'm going to bring it to you. But what do you think about this case? What do you think about this case? Let me know your view. Watch our other videos as well, and let's have a discourse on these cases on this channel. I appreciate your support so far, and I pray that 2024 would be a blessing for you. Keep an eye out and stay safe out there. I'll catch you on the next one.